Bonjour. So I'm just going to explain this new grammar rule to you. And I would encourage you to watch this video back a couple of times just to make sure you have a good grasp on the concept. So I'm going to teach you two small things. One is called the comparative and the other is called the superlative. We use these in our own language as well. It's just to be aware of them in English and in French. So le comparatif. So what is the comparative? The comparative is when we compare two things. So when we compare someone with someone else, or when we compare something with something else. Like at home, I'm sure your parents might always say, oh, you're taller than your younger brother. Oh, your sister's more intelligent than you. So it's comparing one person to another. Or we often compare subjects, like French is better than Irish, or biology is easier than physics. The books are better than films. Okay, so we do compare things, we compare people. So that's what using a comparative is. In my sentences there, I've said better, smaller, taller, more intelligent. Okay, so for example, Paul is taller than Mark. The red shirt is more expensive than the white one. So taller is a comparative. More expensive is a comparative. So Paul, we're comparing him to Mark. He's taller. That's a comparative. The red shirt is more expensive than the white one. So we're comparing the red shirt to the white one and we're using the comparative and we're saying it's more expensive. Sheila is as clever as Kathy. So they're both as clever as each other. We're just comparing one to the other. So when comparing things in French, you must use the following structure. So if you're saying that, something is more expensive than something else, you say plus. Okay? Moins is less. Aussi is as, if something is the same as. What you do is you say plus, moins, aussi, plus the adjective. So whether it's big or small, intelligent, expensive, shy, chatty, and then you put the word que after it, and that means than. Okay, so more expensive than, less expensive than, as expensive as. Okay, you'd obviously change it to as there. So let me show you some examples. So we'll start off with plus que, more something than. Il est plus grand que moi. He is taller than me. Now, if we literally translated it, we know grand means big or tall. So literally translating it says, he is more tall than me. Now, we wouldn't say that in our language. He is more tall than me. We would say he is taller than me. So that's our comparative. Plus grand que. If he was smaller than me, I would say il est plus petit que moi. So what you use when you're saying something is more, taller, smaller, intelligent, chatty, expensive, whatever. Plus, adjective, que. Le TGV va plus vite que les autres trains. So the TGV goes faster than the other trains. So vite means quick or fast. So I'm comparing the TGV, which is a high-speed French train, to other trains that run in general. So plus vite que, faster. If we literally translate, the TGV goes much fast as, or much fast than. Okay, the final example, il travaille plus que le reste de sa classe. Now, I didn't need to use an adjective here, because I'm just saying he works more than the rest of his class. Okay, so I'm comparing him. So that's one example of comparison in French, using a comparative, plus que, and put your adjective in the middle. If something is less than, less intelligent than, less expensive than, smaller than, etc., you use moins que. Il est moins intelligent que son frère. He is less intelligent than his brother. So moins plus adjective plus que. Moins intelligent que. Tu es moins timide que moi. You are less shy than me. You could also say you are not as shy as me. That's another way of comparing in our language. So, tu es moins timide que. Moins, adjective, que. And the final example, elle est moins sympa que sa sœur. So, she is less nice than her sister. And I was kind of thinking, how would we say that really in our language? We'd say she isn't as nice as her sister. So moins que means less. So it could be moins intelligent que, moins petit que, moins grand que, moins sympa que, moins sportif que, moins généreux que, not as generous as, less generous. Okay, so you have plus que, more than, moins que, less than, and aussi que is if someone or something is the same as. So, il est aussi beau que son père. He is as handsome as his father. So, aussi, adjective que, as, handsome as. Paul est aussi généreux que Luc. Paul is as generous as Luke. So, we're comparing the two of them. We're using a comparative, as generous as. Aussi généreux que. Je suis aussi grand que mon meilleur ami. I am as tall as my best friend. If I wanted to say I am as small as my best friend, je suis aussi petit que mon meilleur ami. So aussi que is as, something as small as chatty as intelligent as, etc. So just to recap, plus que, moins que, aussi que are all used when we're comparing someone or something. So plus que, more than, moins que, less than, aussi que, as, something as. Now we usually use an adjective in between each of those expressions. You can use adverbs and verbs at times, but usually we slot an adjective in there. So look at my final example. Il est plus grand que moi. He is taller than me. He is more tall than me. So grand, we're using an adjective between plus que. Okay, hope you're okay with that. Now, you may also come across these expressions, plus de que, moins de que, and autant de que. Now, we do sometimes use these in our opinion questions. We use plus de followed by que when you have a noun in between them. Our previous expressions were used when you had an adjective in between them. If you use plus de followed by que, then we slot in a noun. For example, nous avons plus de devoirs que vous. So devoir is a noun. It means homework. So we have more homework than you. So we have more of homework than you. Moins de, followed by a noun, followed by que. Il a moins de problèmes en maths qu'en sciences. He has less or fewer of problems in maths than in science. And the final example is autant de, noun, followed by que. Il reçoit autant d'argent que moi. He receives as much money as me. Okay? So just to be aware of them, we will get used to them over the next year or so. So plus de, noun, que, moins de, noun, and que, autant de, followed by noun, and que. Okay, so the ones I really want you to focus on at the moment are the plus que, moins que, aussi que, with the adjective in the middle. All right. Finally, le superlatif is a superlative. So we've just looked at the comparative, which is comparing someone or something to another. The superlative is when you want to say that something is the best or someone is the best, the quickest, the slowest. Okay? So we have other expressions like the tallest, the biggest, the brightest. Now, those words don't exist in French. So how you form them is you put le or la or les before plus or moins, and then followed by the adjective. Okay? So let me show you examples because that will make it easier. Il est le plus grand de ma famille. He is the tallest in my family. Now, if I said il est plus grand que moi, that just means he is taller than me. I'm saying il est le plus grand. By putting le before it, I'm making it very definite. He is the tallest in my family. Quelle est la matière la plus intéressante à votre avis? What is the subject the most interesting in your opinion? Now, I know we would say it the opposite. We would say what is the most interesting subject in your opinion. The French will put the noun first and then they'll describe it after. So, quelle est la matière la plus intéressante? What's the most interesting subject in your opinion? Okay, so the most interesting subject is French. The most interesting subject is English. So you put la before it. So la before plus, followed by your adjective. Jean et Luc sont les deux garçons les plus intelligents de la classe. Jean and Luc are the two boys the most intelligent of the class. So really, we would say in our language, Jean and Luc are the two most intelligent boys in the class. So les plus intelligents. So if your definition, someone being the biggest, the tallest, the most beautiful, the most interesting, the most intelligent, you put le, la or les before plus. Paris et Lyon sont les villes les plus peuplées de France. So Paris and Lyon are the cities the most populated in France, or we would say Paris and Lyon are the most populated cities in France. So les plus peuplées, okay? So just to recap, if you want to use a superlative, something is either the most or the least. So because it's the most, biggest, tallest, fanciest, expensive, etc., you put le, la or les before plus or moins. Okay? Now just watch out for bon and mauvais. They're adjectives. And what happens when they change in the comparative and in the superlative. So bon is an adjective, it means good. Un bon livre, a good book. When we change that to the comparative, when we're comparing one thing to another, it changes to meilleur, which means best. Mes idées sont meilleures que tes idées. Now we would never say mes idées sont plus bonnes que tes idées. Okay, bon just changes to meilleur when you're comparing. Okay, my ideas are better than yours, or are best than yours. But that actually should say better there in that. I must change that in the presentation. In the superlative, it changes to le meilleur. So to make it really the best, you put le before it. Le meilleur film. C'est le meilleur film de l'année. It's the best film of the year. You're being very definite in that. Mauvais means bad. Une mauvaise idée. A bad idea. That's just using an adjective. If I want to change that to a comparison, it changes to pire. And I want you to get used to that word pire. Okay, so when you're comparing. So c'est pire qu'avant. It's worse than before. So at the moment they're saying the pandemic, the hospital admissions and the spread of the virus is worse now in January 2021 than it was in March 2020. So c'est pire qu'avant. So pire que. Now if you want to say it's the worst book I have ever read, c'est le pire livre que j'ai jamais lu. Or c'était la pire journée de ma vie. It was the worst day of my life. So I suppose just be aware of the meaning. Meilleur means better. Le meilleur, the best. Pire is worse. Le pire, the worst. Okay, so I hope you're okay with those. You need to watch over that video 2 or 3 more times to let that sink in. And hopefully when you practice the sentences, that will help.